Hello, everybody, and welcome to the inaugural LFCNY new podcast. I know in the past there has been some sort of thing, but I'm Dave Turner. I'm going to take over that sort of thing for a little bit right now. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the inaugural edition of the new LFCNY podcast. I'm Dave Turner, and, well, this is a pretty good day to be talking about Liverpool football. The win against Chelsea, a stunning comeback. I think when you look at this in perspective of where this team was under Brendan Rodgers a few weeks ago, you get down 1-0 in a tough building to play against, they wouldn't come back. Now, it's a little bit of magic from Phil Coutinho. Benteke ices it, and they come away with a big-time 3 points that they desperately needed. And I think that is the beginnings. I talked about it in the piece that I just launched today as well, that I think that you're starting to see a culture change here. And that's great. That's fantastic, because for so long it's been, and again, this is kind of hard to put into text, so I guess I can explain it a little bit now, but I guess the feeling about Liverpool for years and years and years, from the days of Bill Shankly till now, we're the team that we were the aggressors. We were the team that was going to go out there and some way, somehow get a result. And it wasn't always pretty. It wasn't always necessarily fun, because almost in a sense, the expectations were so high that you expected to win these matches, and it was going to be tough football, and it was going to be, relentless and that sort of thing. But now there's a different feeling with Jurgen Klopp. And look, it doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna bring a lot of hardware, but it certainly could as well. You just get the feeling from him that he is a different kind of person. He's not the manager that we see in international football, in different American sports, in the big four American sports. It's very different, because he's off the cuff, and I think he also just has a different perspective on things. The quote that I put into my piece there, where he's talking about basically the idea that football is not just a game, but it also should be fun, and it's also not work, shows that he kind of has an idea of what this is and where his place is. And I think that he took this job because he knows that if he goes out there and wins a Premier League title, or wins some other hardware, that all of a sudden he is going to be a god, and he knows that. And I think that he was someone who didn't want to shy away from this sort of thing, but I think he welcomed it, because as much as he's kind of goofy and he has fun, Jurgen Klopp, I do believe that this is a guy that probably is very confident in himself and his skills, and knows that his style does work. And I think he's going to infuse it in there, and it could very well work. And that's what the really great thing about all this is that it's new, it's fun, it's different. I mean, even just seeing, I've talked, I'll wear a lot of Liverpool stuff. I have a hoodie that I've been wearing. So of course, people who are football fans, and in my area of New Jersey and even in New York as well, all of a sudden they'll see my hoodie, and I've talked to a couple Everton fans lately who are actually saying some nice things. It's cool. It's, I certainly don't mind. Of course, you get the Man U fans that trying to just scoff at everything, but whatever. We don't have to get into that with them. But it just seeing the fan base reinvigorated is a cool thing, because I think that there's a sense now that, unlike where it was before with losing Suarez, who was really the reason for that success a few years ago, then you have Brendan Rodgers, who can't figure out anything, and it looks like, oh my God, we're spending all this money, and what's going to happen of it? Boom, you bring in a new manager, and slowly it's starting to work. To get back into the Chelsea match, I think that this was a really good performance from a couple of different players. First off, I think the knock on Mamadou Sakho, that he cannot play a passing type of game, that he's a good defender, he's a big body, but he can't pass well. It's absolute garbage at this point. He has the 4th highest passing success rate in the Premiership, 91.3%. He's strong on the ball. He's passionate. He's fiery. You want to talk about a guy that maybe should have been named captain? Maybe. You're that or Skirtle, but I think the two of them, you can't go wrong, just because I love the way that both him and Skirtle do play with that sort of passion and energy that I'm sure is endearing themselves to Klopp. As far as Phil Coutinho goes, no surprise, because he's that good of a player. He has the ability to absolutely take over a game. And we've seen it. We saw him, week one, snatch, tie, it was going to be a draw, and all of a sudden, boom, that's 3 points right there. We've seen him do some things really well, but he tends to disappear a little bit. And that's what worries me about him, is because I don't know if he's disinterested, if the game just isn't flowing well for him, then he kind of just doesn't have it. But when he's on, he's on. I would like to see him maybe pass the ball a little bit better. I think that with time will happen with a guy like Benteke in there and everything. But you saw from him, once again, reminding you that, look, if he gets a good shot off, he can absolutely change the course of a game and a season for that matter. He could be that big of a difference maker, which is, again, why it's frustrating when he doesn't show up sometimes and you look, what is he really doing today? But I think he proved with the 2 goals there that he can be a big-time player for this club. The other one who I think has to be talked about here is Christian Benteke. He comes on, and I know there's still people who are saying, we're waiting to see the full game from him. What is he going to do? Look, we've seen what his aerial game can do, not just for being able to score, because he really hasn't even been scoring his goals that way necessarily, as it is being able to flick a ball on. Or win a ball out of the air and create offensive chances that way. He's a better all-around player than I think people give him credit for. I really do. And I think that he is someone that with a manager that will really kind of figure him out, I think we'll get the most out of him. Look, he's a good player. He's cost a lot of money. So whether Klopp is really endeared to him or not, he's going to have to make the best of him. And I think that you are seeing him certainly make some plays. I mean, is he better than Mario Balotelli? That's not even a question. I won't even entertain that one because already he's made a much bigger impact, even when he comes in as a sub. The last player just from that match, there was a few who didn't look all that great, but I thought the Simon Mignolet save there was huge for them. We've seen him take a little bit of a flack every now and then. Although he does have the most clean sheets of any Premier League goalkeeper in the calendar year. Say what you want about that. Maybe that's just team defense on occasion or whatever, but he's been good at times, and he made a big save there. And you have to give him credit because, look, he's going to be the guy. He's going to be the one who's going to be in that during these big matches. He's going to have to come up with some big saves at different points to keep this team in contention and to try to hopefully find their way back into the top 4. He's going to have to be there. To move on now to Europa qualifying. Of course, Thursday, Rubin Kazan. They played them to a 1-1 draw last time. This time, hopefully it'll be a little bit better. For Liverpool, it's simple. 3 draws is not enough. Right now, FC Sion is leading the pool with 7 points, so catching them might not exactly be possible right now because you'd have to make up quite a little bit of ground, including beating them outright. But second place is still certainly an option. They are in second place right now with Rubin Kazan and Bordeaux with 2 points. Liverpool, of course, with 3, getting a point in all 3 matches so far. They have to win one at some point. I mean, you can't just be getting 1-1 draws and being okay with it. Yeah, as it turns out, maybe 6 points would be enough to do it if they do go that far and get a draw in all 6 matches. But you don't want to go down that route. You don't want to have a situation where you're playing one of those 2 teams late, especially Bordeaux, where they could possibly pass you with a win, and you're sitting there hoping, all right, maybe it's a 1-1 match or it's 0-0 still, and you're saying, oh, sure, great, we'll be happy to take a draw, and then it doesn't happen. You don't want to put yourself in that situation. Look, go out there, get the 3 points against Rubin Kazan, assert yourself as the second place team, and then go into the match with FC Sion as a chance to possibly become within 1 point of them or take the lead with them and get that first place there just to get yourself a better knockout round draw. I know it's thinking ahead a little bit because they still have to qualify and they're going to have to probably win a match here. But that being said, they've got to go out and do it. I mean, it's been so frustrating seeing all of these, especially because they've had leads and they've looked good at times. And it's like, well, where is everything going? I get it that he's going to be playing different players. It's not going to be the same lineup, and maybe at some point you really do that because you have to. I don't think this is the match, but if you draw or lose this match with 2 matches left, I think you have to roll a better lineup for the last 2, and hopefully it doesn't get to that, because really I don't think you really want to have to deal with that for Klopp, to all of a sudden have to say, well, we have to play so-and-so in these matches just because we have to try to advance. So we shall see with that. But one more Premier League fixture before the international break. That is the 8th of November against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace are not going to blow you away, but they're certainly not an easy side. And I think that they'll have to play a game close to the effort against Chelsea if they want to come away with 3 points. I mean, certainly Crystal Palace is a team that is looking to maybe even get into that top 6 area. And it's not going to be easy to go in and get a result there. I think you're going to have to see more consistency. And that's the biggest thing, is that we've seen good points with this team. We've seen moments where they look really good, and then all of a sudden you see them not really getting it yet. Sure, it's a new system with Klopp. He has to find the players. He has to find the right tempo for this team. It's not all going to be easy. But if you look at the Premier League table right now, 8th place right now for Liverpool, goal differential of 0, so they're way far behind everyone else who's anywhere near them. Everton's +4, Southampton, West Ham +5 and 7 respectively. So, I mean, they're not going to get any help right now in terms of goal differential. So they're going to have to start winning some matches. They've got 4 wins, 5 draws, 2 losses, and that's not going to do it. They've got 12 goals for, which is not going to do it. Crystal Palace is 5 wins, 1 draw, 5 losses. So they've been good too. They're only 1 point behind Liverpool. So if they hop up, they could technically be in 7th place by the end of the day on Sunday. Now for Liverpool, they could possibly be in 5th and a point behind 4th. So I think there's a lot at stake now to try to get this win before the international break. I think you can go out and win the next 2 matches here, the Europa League match and the other match here in the Premier League. I think you'll have to feel really good about this team. But if you go out with a stinker with the international break and then a trip to Manchester City coming up, that is going to be difficult. For me, that would be the worst possible situation right now, would be a loss against Crystal Palace with a daunting task of a Man City fixture coming up on the road. To me, that's something that they'd want to avoid at all costs. So we'll see. Again, we're starting to see the moments look good. I thought Emre Can has looked good at times, maybe not so much last match. Adam Lallana has looked better under Klopp than he did under Rodgers. Nathaniel Klein, for as much as he's having some sort of spat with the coach, has looked pretty good too. I mean, he's fast. He can move the ball. He certainly is a very, very good fullback who was a good signing for them. But generally speaking, I think this team, you can't really judge them yet. I know I was waxing poetic about where they've been and where they are now with the big win and looking like Klopp is doing some magical things, but nothing has been accomplished yet. They have to keep it going. They have to find what works. And the transfer period is going to do that. I'm sure there's going to be some new bodies in here for sure, because Klopp is going to get the kind of guys that know how to play his system and can really fit into what he wants to do. And that's okay, because a manager should tailor his team to what he needs and what he wants. And whether it's possibly jettisoning a player that we might not expect because he just doesn't work, all right, that might be the case. Or it's bringing in someone for a considerable amount of money that just fits his system. Whatever the case may be, as I said in my article that is above what you're listening to right now, I've really liked what we've seen from Klopp, just because he's reinvigorated everything with this club. Whether it's the team on the field, whether it's just the reporters and the way they ask him questions and talk to him, almost as if they're waiting for this profound answer from him, which is so different than most any manager in any sport around the world. And the fact that the fan base now, you see the supporters having fun. And that's great, because that's what it's about at the end of the day. Sure, the goal is to win hardware. And you know what? If he keeps going, that'll happen down the road. Really, right now, we just want to see market improvement match in and match out. And right now, we're seeing improvement. Is it by leaps and bounds? No. But it's been close. I will be back next week, certainly talking about the Europa League results and the Crystal Palace clash, which should be 3 points. If not, I think we'll all be disappointed. I'm Dave Turner. I will be back again with more coming soon.